Well, good morning, farming fans. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to another live stream for the Old Guy Farms Challenge. We are here in episode number, what is this? Episode number 11, and let's go ahead and get right started with the work that we've got to do. We've done 12 hours and 10 minutes on this map. We've got $351,350. So let's, what do you mean? Oh. Continue, no, this one here, continue. There we go. All right, getting right into the action here now. If you followed or watched live stream episode number 10, you know that we worked quite late. We had a little bit of an accident. We actually tipped and rolled our trailer once again. That's only the second time though, so we've hauled a lot of logs and have only flipped it one time. But unfortunately, we had to sacrifice those logs to the farm sim gods, I suppose. And well, we sort of wasted a little bit of time, and of course, we did not hit our goal, our daily goal of kind of trying to get near 100,000 in the bank. So it is what it is, and we get those eggs there, and we're good to go. All right. Well, we need to tend to our sheep. We should have done this yesterday, but we didn't, and so our productivity and everything is a little bit lower. Let's see, what do we have on the front of this? We have nothing on the front of this, so let's go ahead and pull out. We are in a brand new game day. We're starting at 5:30 in the morning, so the days are getting a little bit shorter as we progress through the next few days. Obviously, seasons depicts things such as they are in the real world. In other words, with the days and everything being somewhat longer in the summertime and obviously shorter in the late summer, fall, and obviously winter time frame. So we're starting up here at the main farm today, and boy, that canola is looking good there. And I think we're almost out of hay as well, but we will do this really quick here and then dump this over here and then go get some hay for them. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. More than likely, if you're watching this stream, then obviously you are probably, it's very early in your Tuesday business day in the US, or it's sort of mid-afternoon or so if you're watching from the other side of the pond. And thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying hello. And I guess there is a part of me that sort of realizes that probably not a lot of folks are going to watch, at least not watch these very early morning live streams like this. And I just sort of woke up at about 4:15 my time and decided that, well, I would go ahead and stream for early morning. I did this last week. I think I actually did this on Tuesday of last week. I woke up and of course, I think that was like episode 2 from last week. So again, yes, I know I'm using pallet forks to move a hay bale. If you're that critical over it, then I'm sorry, but actually I do kind of prefer pallet forks to the regular bell spike. Just simply, let's check our progress while we're here as well. We're still in the dark green, so can't harvest anything. Everything is obviously fertilized, so we can't really do anything there. We got plenty of water. The hay is up to the top, but what we will go ahead and do, let's see, we won't mess with those wool bells because we've got one full pallet. Looks like we've got a full pallet over there, a partial pallet, and then we've got a full pallet over here as well. So hopefully we'll be able to shear enough to get 3 pallets. That would be kind of cool if we could get 3 pallets worth of wool. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that there. And then yesterday we did go ahead and we filled up the greenhouses with water. So today we will head over there and we will top them up with manure. Got lots of stumps to clear. I've got an idea for that, but we're going to basically wait until it is time to harvest. And then that way we can spend some time clearing those stumps out. This is a challenge, so gameplay is a little bit odd for me in the sense that the challenge has a specific set of rules that we must follow, and some that we don't have to follow. So in other words, we can use auto-loading trailers, for example, for the logs. So obviously if you've been watching thus far, then obviously you have seen a lot of that that I have been doing. And so there's no penalty for doing that. Obviously it would be rather slow process for me especially to manually load the trailers. To manually load the trailers is what I was going to say. And but of course there's other things, like for example we have to make sure that we use somewhat realistic mods, in the sense that our mods need to have a normal or sort of acceptable price when you purchase them in the store, and of course they need to have somewhat of an acceptable normal daily maintenance cost. We are watching our daily maintenance costs as much as possible, and of course that sort of drove the decision in selling our combine and that sort of thing, getting rid of some of that stuff that was just going to sit around and do nothing for a long period of time. And of course that is sort of the case with the combine, is that we probably will only use a combine for maybe 2, 3, certainly no more than 4 game days. And so really and truthfully, because of that, there's no reason in having the combine sit around and certainly not benefit us. Good morning, Peter. How are you, sir? Thanks for stopping by on this very early Tuesday morning. Early for me anyways. May not be so early for you, but it is coming just up on 5 a.m. in the morning for me. So I was up early and at it again. So this is live stream episode number 11. Alright, so we've got our farm chores done for the day. We do have to keep an eye, another little variable obviously with the seasons mod, and if you guys have the seasons mod, then you know how all this works and everything. But obviously we've got to keep an eye on maintenance, because as our equipment does age, then obviously we do have to be concerned about that. Now this is dedication to the challenge. It's either dedication, Farmer Klein, or it's just sheer ignorance and perhaps just stupidity perhaps. But I sort of woke up and couldn't sleep, so decided to get back after it. So again, let me get a drink of coffee here. In live stream number 10, which I recorded last night, Monday night, we cut all these trees over here, and it was certainly my goal to try to get all of the trees that we cut, to get them basically hauled off to the mill, and didn't quite hit that goal. I'm going to just kind of restack these momentarily here. Get them in the trailer a little bit better. Alright, we'll call that a load. Let's see, Peter Loki says, Jerry, you're up early. I'm headed home from the fire station in 10 minutes. Well, enjoy your Tuesday, Peter. And I certainly thank you for the work that you do. And Martin Meyer says, good afternoon from Germany. Well, good afternoon to you, sir. John Doe says hello. Welcome, John Doe. I appreciate you guys stopping by and saying hello to me this early morning. Hope you all are having, for those of you that are just starting your days, like I know Farmer Klein, if it's great demand for spinnery for wool. Okay, well that may, we may actually want to take a look at maybe selling our wool that we have at some point today. And there's Old Guy Farmer. So there's two Jerrys in the house. Myself, my name is Jerry, aka Grizzly Bear Sims, but Old Guy Farmer, he's also known as Jerry. That's his name as well. And so, yeah, yesterday we spilt a load of logs, and what I did not know, for those of you, I'll give you a tidbit of information, and it's, you can just thank old Grizzly Bear here for it. But if you spill your load with one of these auto-loading trailers, if you unload on the high side, so for example, let's say I rolled this thing over to the left, and on the right side is the high side facing up. If you unload on the high side, you basically can keep your logs. If you unload, which is what I did last night, on the low side, because I've just kind of got it set to load on the left side and also unload on the left side, then you basically, those logs disappear, and it's sort of the sacrifice that you make to the giants gods, and well, yeah, you lose your money. And each load is anywhere from, probably, depending on how neat that it gets stacked, I would say this is probably not the fullest that I have hauled, but it's certainly not the least either. But these are about 25, probably 20 to 25 to 30,000, somewhere in that dollar range, each load that you bring. So it was sort of heartbreaking, and it was sort of it sort of shifted the mood and everything. I think I was already a little bit tired. Anyway, it was probably around 8 o'clock when I started streaming last night. Your X4, hello and welcome to the stream. And so it sort of killed the momentum just a little bit, because we had spent a good deal amount of time cutting trees, which we obviously will probably go back to doing here in just a few minutes. And but anyway, you live and you learn, and actually, you know, I don't have to necessarily make up excuses as to how I would end up tipping the truck and trailer, but actually I was driving and I was looking over to my right screen, which I've got dual screens. I've actually got 3 screens, but I keep my chat over on my right hand screen, so I've got my gameplay, which is directly in front of me on the monitor, directly in front of me, and then on the monitor to my right, I've got my chat, and I've got the YouTube dashboard, so that I can kind of keep an eye on the stream health, and also the chat there as well. I've got really 2 places I can look at chat. And we're just going to go ahead and speed by some of these Sunday drivers here. Sunday drivers on a Thursday, I suppose. But anyway, Yeah, nice truck, Peter Loki. Yeah, this is one of my favorite modded trucks, and I know it also happens to be a favorite of Farmer Klein as well. And so it is nice. It looks nice. It's got a nice look to it, both on the outside as well as on the inside. It's kind of a shame that the mirrors don't that you can't adjust the mirrors, but maybe that's an enhancement that could come later down the road for this beauty. But it kind of fits with what we're doing here. Obviously, we're trying to do maybe more with less. In other words, where we're using a little bit of older equipment, not necessarily as a general rule, because while we may have a, I don't know, 19 probably 60 50 60 model Mack truck here, we're using a brand new modern Scorpion to harvest logs with. We're using some older Ford tractors, but we'll probably sort of mix things up, match things up. So I don't know that when I started this challenge, I'm not necessarily sure that I had it in my mind that I was going to do as much logging, as much forestry work as I've ended up doing. But I sort of realized that because of the investment that we made in the first place in the Scorpion, and I think that was a wise investment because we've already paid for it. We've probably paid for it maybe twice, even though we don't necessarily have the cash up there to show for it, but we have sort of reinvested some money into a field and other things like that. Get these logs loaded up here. But it's been a good investment for us, I think, and I think that as long as we keep it, a piece of equipment moving, keep it operating, keep it bringing something in, then I think that in my mind it's somewhat okay to have the maintenance costs. It's things like a combine harvester, as an example, which I'm so thankful that Mark DuPont sort of talked me, not nearly talked me into, but suggested, and I certainly listened to that suggestion, of getting rid of the combine, because I think at best the combine would have been used only just a few times or a few days of the year. Obviously, probably 3, probably no more than 4. And otherwise it would just be setting, and we would be paying maintenance on it, and we wouldn't be getting any benefit out of it. Now, of course, buying the Scorpion King at a price tag of like $317,000, it is raining, but that does not prevent us from logging. We will go ahead and continue to work while we get rain on those crops. I'm sure they need it. But anyway, we are able to continue making money with this equipment, and I think that's a good thing. Alright, so we will strap this down. We're not going to haul this to the mill just yet. We're going to drive up here and get in our Scorpion King and get back at it again. That is, get back at it cutting some more logs. But what I was saying earlier is I think that when I started this challenge basically a week ago, I'm not sure that I really had it in my mind that we were going to do this much forestry work. I think that most likely that was not in my thought process, but we need to do something with our time, because there's absolutely nothing that we can do. And if I were playing this map outside of the challenge, I probably wouldn't be doing this much forestry, just because I do know that a lot of folks don't like watching forestry work, and it would be a lot of fast forward. We'd be taking care of the animals, and we would basically be fast forwarding through a lot of this time. So because while I certainly know what the strategies are of the other participants in this challenge. It's still too very early to tell whether or not their strategies are going to be the winning strategy. And so I am doing a sort of a variation. We are doing traditional farming. We've got 4 fields planted. We've chosen crops for the first year. We've chosen crops for the first year that basically can be harvested using just the grain header on the combine. So that will also keep our costs a bit lower whenever it comes time to lease our combine. Is we've got wheat, barley, canola, and soybeans. So basically we can just rent the same piece of equipment and get it all done. Yes, this is the default Scorpion, Peter. Just the regular in-game Scorpion. I have gotten to know this vehicle quite well. My current Let's Play series that I'm doing off our sort of non-live stream recordings of is the Mountain Valley Farm. That map is also by Old Guy Farmer, Jerry Lott. Jerry Ott, I should say. I actually know a Jerry Lott, and that's why I get those names confused. But anyhow, that map is the extra hard version that I'm playing, and as such, you basically start with no defined fields, and you have to basically go in and clear your trees and everything. And Mark DuPont was the gentleman who I sort of found out about this Mountain Valley Farm map, and I met him through Eustace Farmer, and I went over and watched his video, a video that he had just uploaded, and it was basically that series. So I started over from the very beginning. Now Mark tackled it much different than I did. I threw a lot of heavy machinery at it, and sort of went in with sort of that, you know, semi-retired kind of thing where I've got some money, and I'm going to invest it in a farm, kind of breathing life back to Granddad's farm kind of thing. And we went in with a Scorpion King and basically cleared a lot of that, and just sort of for dramatic purposes, I suppose, to tell a story, I did do a little bit of manual loading of logs, but essentially off camera, again, because I kind of know that a lot of people don't like watching forestry, certainly long time watching forestry. Then I went in and did a lot of that off camera. And we're going to go ahead and take this tree. And by the way, we have sought permission from all these folks around here to basically come in and clear cut their land. Not that that matters, of course. All right, I think I'm going to head over to the other side of the road here, and we will kind of take this area and go down, and just kind of focus on this, and we'll do this logging for a few game hours, which, if you notice up at the top there, we are playing at 15x speed. That is one of the requirements of the challenge. And let me tell you, 15x speed, it all goes pretty quick as far as time. Max Agar, hello. Well, hello to you as well. Thanks for watching this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. You know, when I'm streaming in the evenings my time, it's sort of the assumption I guess I make when people pop into the channel is that they're either probably watching from the U.S. or North America, certainly, or maybe they're watching from the Asia side of the world, Australia, New Zealand, something like that. I have a lot of folks that join the live streams from that portion of the country, of the world. Here early in the mornings like this, I suppose it's either folks that are maybe on the east coast of the U.S. that are already up, or certainly certainly perhaps the UK, Europe, or maybe just some folks that can't sleep, I suppose, in Australia, New Zealand. Peter Loki says, I'm in North Carolina. All right. Yeah, where is everybody from, if you don't mind saying there? I am in Denver, Colorado. And I tell you what, it was a hot day yesterday. And of course, I know that folks that live in other portions of the U.S., for me, I know that you guys have much hotter temperatures, but when temperatures stay into the into the 90s for a long period of time here in Colorado, it's just way too long. And of course, things are dry here. Things have been dry. Things have been very dry up here for far too long. And we've got forest fires that are popping up here, there, and pretty much everywhere. It is kind of the thing that happens. Usually we do have a seasonal sort of monsoon flow or something like that they call it. So we have had a little bit of rain. We had some rain on Friday and on Saturday, and some cooler temperatures as well, and that always helps. That always helps with forest fire mitigation and such, but still it's Peter says it's going to be pushing 100 degrees here the next 10 days. Yep. I grew up in Texas, so I know all about summer. I grew up in sort of northeast Texas, up near Tyler, and certainly remember summers and everything of multiple consecutive days of 100, above 100 degrees. And the summer before I moved to Denver, which was in 1998, I lived in Dallas, worked in Dallas, and we had something like 45 consecutive days of above 100 degrees. It was just absolute sheer misery. I lived in an apartment complex that the AC went out, and it took them, it was one of those situations where whatever part that went out, they couldn't readily get it immediately, so they put me up in thankfully they put me up in a hotel, or they allowed, well, let's put it this way, they allowed me to deduct cost of 2 nights in a hotel from my rent the next month. Thankfully they did that. Alright, just keep it on, just rinse and repeat. GTX, howdy. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. And Jamie Burt says it was 1 p.m. when you streamed earlier, and now it's 11 p.m. in New Zealand. Well, thanks for watching from New Zealand. Alright, that tree's gonna live to see another day. And Jerry Ott says, well, I'm off to get more coffee and get ready for the stream myself. Alright, Jerry, have a wonderful day, and I'll try to catch your stream once I get into the office. This morning, which obviously I will be going into the office here in about an hour and a half or so. Get in before 7 o'clock. Alright, it's hard for me to admit defeat, so we'll try taking this tree from another angle. There we go. Where there's a will, there's a way. Never give up, all that good stuff. Yeah, well, I got it in the end, Peter. Sometimes it's just a matter of approaching it from another angle or something like that. This one's going to be stubborn as well. Alright, we'll leave that little stand there. Yesterday our trees were fairly good height. Today, not so much. These are kind of short. I suppose we could leave these and catch them at another time later in the season. I don't know if giants trees grow or not, or at least the sort of the pre-planted trees. They may kind of stay whatever height they are, but I kind of trying to do things somewhat consistent, meaning come on. Having problems with my button assignments. Anyway, trying to do things somewhat consistent and uniform. In other words, I kind of worked down that one side yesterday, and I'm working down this side today, and kind of hopes of just being able to essentially drive down this side of the road over here and pick these logs up. Alright, that was a bit sloppy. Mark Armstrong, let's see, Mad Skipman 1, hello all. Well, hello to you, thanks for stopping by. Mark Armstrong Gaming, hey guys. Hey Mark, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. I would appreciate it if everyone would also follow the progress of the other challengers. You'll find a link to all of their channels down below. There's about 5 or 6. I do need to check to make sure I've got all of them. There's a couple of folks that entered the challenge late last week, and to my knowledge, I believe I've got them all, but I will definitely check. Mark says, I'm good, thanks. How's your stream going? Well, it's early. It's early morning. It's just coming up on 5:20 my time in the AM. It's kind of, I woke up early, so I decided to try to get another day of this challenge done. And so I don't know if you've been on the stream before, Mark, but this is a single player challenge that some of us are involved in, some of my streaming friends. And it's a modified Goldcrest Valley map that old guy Gamer sort of modified and set it up, and also he's responsible for the challenge itself, and so he developed sort of a set of guidelines, a set of rules or whatever that we must all follow. And part of those, all of that information can be seen down below the video. You can get a link over to the website where you can get some information about the challenge, and sort of some of the criteria I can just talk about here. We're playing with the Seasons mod, thankfully, simply because I just don't really think I can play Farm Sim 17 without the Seasons mod. We are playing 6 game day seasons, and we are playing at 15x speed. And I will tell you that 11, this is episode 11, so this is my 11th live stream, or my 11th sort of game day at playing this map, playing at 15x speed. And I have finally kind of gotten used to the fast gameplay. The first episode was pretty lousy on my part, just because I just let the fact that time was just slipping away so quickly. I just kind of let that, I think, kind of get to me psychologically, mentally, or whatever. If you're not used to playing at such a fast speed, you really got to kind of adjust everything that you might normally do. If you spend a lot of time contemplating about maybe you're going to buy this particular tractor or whatever, and you're comparing things, you're spending time doing all of that, well, your day is slipping by. And so we've tried to leverage the best use of time in everything that we do. And again, because there's not a whole lot to do beyond forestry right now, because all of our fields are planted, all of our fields are seeded, all of our fields are plowed, and all that good stuff. So we're just kind of doing a little bit of busy work, and doing the kind of busy work that makes us money. And that's kind of been what my that's kind of what my strategy is right now, is do things that make money, and GTX says it was cold for Farmer Klein today. Not sure what that means, unless Farmer Klein is already in the wintertime. He may be. I know he streamed quite a bit over the weekend. Sorry about that. How long am I streaming for today? I am just going to do this one episode, and so we have to, we basically, well, we can go at our own pace, obviously, but I typically farm from in the game hour, wherever Seasons dumps us off at after the overnight sleep. So I think this morning we started around 5:30, and I will go until after 9 o'clock. We do have to basically work from roughly 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. At 9 p.m. we can use the Seasons mod function to sleep through the night. And so I'll be streaming probably another 20 minutes, something like that, and that's it. I've got to go and basically go to the office and go do my real job. This is not my real job. This is my fun. This is hobby. All right, Peter. Thanks a lot. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your breakfast. All right, I think we're going to shift gears here just a little bit. I'm going to park the Scorpion there under that tree. And let me just bring up the store really quick here and see what I have in the form of... I wasn't planning on selling wool at this early of a time, but you know, sometimes beggars can't be choosers, and we've got a great demand, but I can't remember where. $10 a day. It doesn't look like I have the normal trailer that I use. All right, well. So we'll continue this for a little while. If I can figure out how to work this cutter again. I am giving away, I am running a contest. The contest is independent of the challenge itself. The contest basically is a giveaway that I'm doing for 3 copies of the new DLC that will be coming out in the fall in November from Giants. This is the Platinum edition of the Farm Sim 17. It's the expansion. It's not going to be the full. It's not going to be the full Farm Sim 17 game plus Platinum. It's just going to be the expansion DLC. And that will be out the mid part of November, and I'm giving away 3 copies of that to 3 lucky viewers. And the only requirement to do that, or there's a few requirements I suppose, is 1, please be a subscriber of my channel. So if you're interested in entering the drawing, please go ahead and click subscribe, and that way you're covered there. And then B, obviously, you need to watch my videos, because during each video I provide a keyword of the day or a code word of the day, and then with that code word you essentially can take that code word and you can redeem that code word for an entry into the contest or an entry into the drawing. And complete information is listed down below the video. I will give out the code word here in just a few minutes. Farmer Klein is back in the house. Farmer Klein was here in the house earlier, and I guess he went away, and now he's back. So welcome, Farmer Klein. Folks, if you are interested, or if you're contemplating wanting to play a new map, and you don't really know much about that map, definitely check out Farmer Klein's channel and check out his map reviews. He has a interesting, sort of an interesting approach to how he does his map reviews and the information that he provides to you. And it's done quite nicely, and it's presented to you very professionally. And so I would encourage you to go over there and check that out. He does some mod reviews and such as well. And then of course he does some really awesome Let's Plays. And then of course he's also participating in the challenge. Are you at episode 20 yet on your challenge, game day 20? I know you're several ahead of me. I think I'd have to get up several more mornings early and stream also in the evenings for a few days to get caught up to you, but that's okay. At this rate, you're going to be, I think at this rate, you're going to be done before anyone else. Just finished 18. All right, well. GTX, are you the same GTX with GTX modding? I bet you are. We left that stump a bit high. Yeah, alright, well GTX is in the house with GTX modding. And of course GTX modding is a wonderful friend of ours. Both myself and Farmer Klein as well. We both love GTX mods. And of course they're a friend and a modding partner for at PCSG. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, new to my stream, you don't know about PCSG, go check them out. You'll find a link down below the show notes. And it's a simulation-based community, forum if you will, but it's a little bit more than a forum. We really truly are a community of people who really care about the hobby and care about the people that are involved in the hobby, both modding and gaming and that sort of thing. Just sort of as an example that I usually throw out there every time I talk about PCSG is if you're new to Farm Sim 17 or really new to any simulation-based games, a lot of times when you go and you sign up to these communities, you're new, you have questions, you go into the forums, you ask a question, next thing you know, you're basically being beaten over the head with complaints that you didn't Google this and you didn't search for that or whatever. We don't do that. We fully understand that perhaps people do try to search, perhaps you just don't know the correct search parameters to use, and so we're not going to do that. We're not going to bash you over the head and go tell you to go search for something. We're going to help you. We've got a lot of folks that have, well, with reference to Farm Sim, we've got folks that go all the way back to FS13, FS9, FS11. I say FS9, maybe there wasn't an FS9, but anyway, certainly got folks that go back to the 13 days and the 11 days, and of course 15, and so they don't mind helping you, and I say they, I should say we, because I am a member of that community, as well as most of the regulars that pop onto this channel, like Farmer Klein and Jerry Ott, and Mark Decline, etc. Jamie says, just watching your map review of Klein Farmer. Klein, good to see that someone else thinks it's a great map. Good. Alright, Farmer Klein, I'm only going to probably be on until we get these some of these logs sold. I don't know if I'll get them all started or get them all sold, but we'll get some of these cleaned up and then most likely call it a day. Alright, so we're going to park the beast here, and we are going to tab up here and get into this guy here, and we'll go ahead and go sell these logs and then come back and start hauling more logs to the sell point, and looks like we've got a couple of logs there. We'll have a fairly good haul, I think, when it's all said and done. FS7 started it all. Yeah, I don't go back that far myself. I'm an old simulation gamer, that's true enough, but pretty much that really only included flight sim. I've been flying flight sim since the Commodore 64 days, way back in the early to mid 1980s, and yes, flight sim does go back that far. But I was watching a guy I knew that I had been following on Twitch and YouTube several years ago that typically did flight sim stuff, and so I noticed that he went live, and it was something different. It was Farm Sim 15, and I had heard about Farm Sim, but I just sort of assumed that it was kind of like Farmville on Facebook. My mom begs me to to play Farmville with her, and I just sort of assumed that that was sort of the way that it worked, and I wasn't really interested in it. But then I watched his video, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, sort of reminded me of my childhood days of playing out in the dirt with my Tonka trucks, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. So I got Farm Sim 15, and at that time I really didn't have any hardware for Farm Sim. I kind of naively thought, okay, well maybe I can get my Flight Sim yoke to work as a steering wheel, and maybe I can get my Flight Sim rudder pedals to work as an accelerator and a gas pedal, or accelerator and a brake pedal. There was some problems with that, and so I initially started playing with a Xbox well, initially I suppose I played with keyboard and mouse, but that kind of got a bit old, and so I got an Xbox controller, a USB Xbox controller, and I probably played the first couple of 100 hours of Farm Sim 15 with that. And then of course Farm Sim 15 opened doors up to ETS2, because I sort of figured, okay, well, it's a similar game. I do like simulation-based games, or at least I like the thought process behind simulation-based games more so than first-person shooters and stuff like that. Not that I'm opposed to any of that, but just my preference and what I like. And so then I decided, well, you know, I'm really enjoying Farm Sim 15 and I'm really enjoying ETS2, so I started to look around to see what kind of controllers were out there, and found the Logitech G27, and yeah, so, and of course Farm Sim 15, I played it up until the day before Farm Sim 17 came out, and basically I wrapped up a YouTube series that I was doing with Farm Sim 15 on Paradise Hills. Wrapped it up the day before 17 came out, and then I started playing 17, and I've never gone back to 15. Haven't had the need to. You know, it was a little slow going at first until some of the mods got caught up with 17. I know it was pretty painful playing without the GPS mod. I realized pretty quick that I cannot plow in a straight line. I can't cultivate or seed or do much of anything else in a straight line without the GPS mod. So I think it came out pretty quick. And of course, courseplay wasn't too long to follow, and of course the rest is kind of history, I suppose. Okay, why won't you jump in there? There you go. All right, Jonathan, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I know a lot of folks are getting ready for work or got other things going on, and so I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. It does help pass the time by having you guys in the stream with me. Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll just go up here and spin around and try not to roll, and then come back down this other side of the road here and finish loading these up. Oh, that sign was in the way anyway. We do like to give our friends on the hideaway department a little bit of something to do. So we like to knock down signs on occasion so they can come out here and put them back up. It gives them something to do with their time. And of course they magically do all of that after we shut the game off. It's kind of funny how that works. Let's see if we can take a shortcut. So I don't think any of us right now that's playing the challenge knows if their strategy is going to be the winning strategy. Everybody, there's some that are somewhat similar in the fact that there's a few of us that are doing traditional farming. So we do have planted fields with wheat, barley, canola, corn, whatever. There are others like Rubber Burner Gaming is doing nothing but logging. Now that was his plan in episode 1. I do know that he streamed last night, and I have not watched that recorded archive video yet, so it's possible that he may have changed his strategy, because I think he was a bit concerned that there wasn't enough trees on the map. But I do believe that there are enough trees on the map. There's a boatload of trees on this map. I mean, we have spent several days doing nothing but cutting trees and hauling trees to the lumber mill, and we have really not even, I don't even think, made a dent in it. And of course we've got other things to keep us busy. You know, as soon as it comes harvest time, that's obviously what we will shift our gears and start doing, is obviously harvesting. And then most likely when we start harvesting, that is when I will take the time to I'm going to try to beat that truck there. That's when I will take the time to start clearing stumps around the main farm, because one of the reasons why we cut trees around the main farm area was to kind of expand those fields. We're not going to combine fields because I think we still want to grow somewhat unique crops, because we don't really know what the great demand is going to be, and so I'd rather have a little bit of everything than sort of hedge my bets on just one or two different things. I suppose if we knew that the great demand was going to be on soybeans, we would just plant everything in soybeans, but we don't know that, and we're not going to try to cheat and find out what that is. So we're just going to stick with a more realistic strategy. And of course we're filling our days with logging when we don't have anything better to do. Sunday drivers. We're trying to play as realistic as possible, or as realistic as the game allows. Obviously, I understand that auto-loading trailers is not highly realistic, but the gameplay or the guidelines of the contest doesn't restrict the use of them. And obviously, playing at 15x speed, we try to take all the advantages that we possibly can within the guidelines, within the rules. And but we're not cutting through fields. We're not doing stuff like that. We're trying to, again, play as realistically as possible. And another thing that I'm doing now, of course, there's no rule preventing folks from working 24 hours a day. In other words, taking advantage of the full 24-hour clock. I'm taking a little bit more realistic approach. We did pull an all-nighter on the very first episode, but since then I have basically only been working until about 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. just to, because from a realistic standpoint, you know, a human just simply cannot stay up for days and days and days without sleep, without rest, unless of course they're crab boat fishermen. Those guys on Deadliest Catch, I don't know how they do it. Stay up for days on end. But here in our farm world, we certainly can't do that. So sometimes the logs fly up nicely, and sometimes they just kind of make a mess in the trailer. Sort of the key to this is slow and steady. Anytime you're moving while the trailer is filling, you run the risk of the logs kind of kicking up and hitting the back rest there. Of course, the back rest is our friend, because without that, they might actually slide out. We'll turn our headlights on. See if we can get this trailer a little bit more full. Just having to keep an eye. I'm having to keep an eye is what I'm trying to say. I'm having to keep an eye on both real time as well as simulation time. It's coming up on 9 p.m., which is the earliest that we can stop. Is 9 p.m. We can basically start the season's skip night feature, which is kind of cool the way that it works. Because basically what it will do is it will just fast forward through the nighttime, and it dumps you off at sunrise. And of course, with seasons depicting a little more accurate daylight cycles, as what we might see in the real world. Obviously, you know, we've got longer days in the summertime, and then shorter days in the fall and winter, early spring, so it depicts that. And we have had start times around 4:30 or so, and I think this morning it was about 5 something. And of course that will sort of change as we get closer to fall and winter. So the days will be shorter. It is nice to have the longer days, and if you're looking at my archives of this series, you may notice that my archive recording times are, you know, they somewhat vary. Some on the shorter side, it's about an hour and 5 or 10 minutes or so to do the game day, but yet when it's on the longer side, like summer, then it's about an hour and 20 minutes or so. I'm just trying to take advantage of all of the time that we can, and we just have to make sure that if we are going to fast forward or skip night, we just have to make sure that we actually do that skip night command before midnight. And that was kind of, we were running really low on time last night, and almost let time get away from me. Just stocking our shelves with money. Each load is just adding more and more to the kitty up there. Of course, part of the challenge is we're going to play this map for 3 years, 3 game years. That's 72 episodes. And at the end of the last day of winter, we basically will sell everything. Of course, hopefully we'll have sold our grains and all that kind of stuff well before then. But then we'll be able to sell our equipment, and we'll also be able to sell our fields. So making investments in fields is a smart move for us, and so we obviously will be doing that. And then basically the winner of the challenge is determined by who has the most money at the end of the 3 years. So we might have enough time to do one more load before midnight. I'll go ahead and give you the word of the day. So the word of the day for this episode, for episode 11, is the word scorpion. Scorpion, as in Scorpion King, the code word is scorpion. So you take that code word and you basically exchange that code word for an entry in the drawing. So you will need to make sure that you watch my videos. Please be a subscriber. Please also go ahead and slap the like button as well. That helps out. But then you send me that code word via email with a properly formatted subject line, please. And that will enter you into the drawing. And then I will be doing the drawing on Sunday, November 6th. The DLC comes out on the midpoint of November, around the 14th or so. We don't need our blinkers. And that is when the DLC comes out. And so let's unload these logs and restack them. So I will do the drawing on the November the 6th. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is certainly don't pre-order unless you absolutely want to. But certainly wait until maybe after November the 6th to find out if you have won. And then if you didn't win, obviously, then at that point in time, do your pre-order. So we should have enough time to get to the mill and dump these logs off and then head back to the main farm, and then we'll probably call it an episode. I need to get ready and go to the office. There was our shortcut. That's the obviously the disadvantage of farming at nighttime. Of course, this is a little bit lighter sky than I gotta watch it. This is that curve that I ended up dumping that load on last night. But definitely that provides challenges flying at night because it's harder to see things. But as I said, even though it's cloudy, it looks a little bit more light outside than it normally does. What did you think of the Scottish flag done in flowers on law folds? I love that. That was, yeah, I think, you know, I sort of initially I questioned the pattern, Jamie. I didn't know that they had put the Easter egg in there. And so when I seen that pattern, I think I sort of talked about it in an episode, and I said, I wonder what this odd pattern is. It looks like an X. And then, you know, I didn't put two and two together initially until somebody brought it up and said, that's the Scottish flag Easter egg that they put in there. There is an American flag Easter egg on this map on one of the fields. Farmer Klein revealed that when he planted that field in grass. So that's kind of cool that folks do that. Of course, Lawfolds is a Scottish map based in Scotland. I think, and I say this, and I mean no disrespect to any of the map creators that have made maps for Farm Sim 17, but I believe at this particular point in time, Lawfolds is my favorite map for Farm Sim 17. Certainly the most favorite that I've certainly played. But I have watched, you know, I have watched other streams and other Let's Plays and stuff like that, but I think from what I've seen and certainly from what I've played, Lawfolds is the favorite for me. Alright, sell this load and then we will head back to the main farm and have a slightly earlier night than we did last night. Last night we worked all the way up until about 15 minutes to midnight or so. Just almost let time get away from us. So again, folks, the word of the day is the word scorpion. All information for what you do with that word and everything can be determined by reading the information down below the video. And you will send that to me via an email. I do try to respond back to each email, or if you send me several emails after you've sort of caught up and watched the archives, then I will send you an email just to confirm that I've seen your email and I've put you in the drawing. So the more, obviously, like other things in life, you know, the more you play the lottery, the greater chances you have of losing your money. But no, the more you play, the more you watch, the greater chances you have of winning, obviously. So if you certainly are going to be diehard, and I hope you will, and watch all 72 episodes, then obviously you can enter up to 72 times. As I was saying at the sort of the beginning of the live stream, we got to keep an eye on vehicle maintenance. The Seasons mod does simulate vehicles needing to be maintained. And of course, we've got 7 days on this vehicle, but our telehandler is coming up. We were down to 2 days before maintenance was needed on that. And so we just need to keep an eye on that and make sure we do maintenance. I like to do maintenance I like to do maintenance on the last day when it still says 1 day before maintenance is done. That way we get the biggest bang for our maintenance. Obviously that just resets the counter back to the number of days there that does. All right. So like we like to do with all of our episodes, we kind of begin our episodes collecting eggs, and we typically end our episode collecting eggs, just because there is a capacity as to the number of eggs that will get stored here before it fills up and no more eggs will be deposited. And you know, I would hate for the challenge, I would hate to lose the challenge because I failed to collect an egg or two. They are money, and it's free money. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. Now we will kind of come out here under our light, and we will do our required thing here. I'm going to save the game, just because in case there's something happens in the fast forward process, then obviously we won't have to do all the work again. And then we're going to do Alt N, which is going to skip the night. We're going to sleep for a little while, and then it's going to bring us up to the next game day, 5:52 a.m. We're going to hit escape. We're going to save once more, and then I'm going to quit the game. So obviously tomorrow morning we need to do or the next episode, which will be 12, we'll have to start by cleaning the animals up and then basically see where we go from there. Perhaps hopefully we are 1 day closer to being able to harvest. So thank you all so much for watching. I would appreciate you guys hitting the like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Also consider checking out some of my other videos, including my course play tutorials, as well as my current Let's Play on Mountain Valley Farm, or even if you're up to it, I've got 2 years. I played 2 years on Lawfolds. Excellent map, beautiful map. I would encourage you to play that map if you haven't had the opportunity to play it at this particular point in time. I would encourage you to do that. And thank you so much for watching, and I will most likely stream again tonight, episode number 12, most likely tonight. And I will talk to you all then or sometime down the road. Take care and God bless you all. Bye-bye.